What's the big deal? He wants to buy. I want to sell. What's the big deal? He wants to sell. I want to buy. What's the story that is in between? And you are telling me I need to investigate. What's there to investigate? That's what we're talking about this evening. We are talking about what is real estate due diligence, part 2. You are welcome. My name is Adebimpe Arinola. One thing you need to understand about selling real estate is that every seller is going to tell you the part of the story that is sweet and in their best interest. They are not going to tell you the unpleasant and the uncomfortable side of the stories. But those parts of the stories are part of what you are buying. You are buying the assets and the liabilities. So you need to find out what those unpleasant parts of the story are. And that's what we are discussing in this part 2 of the video. Understand that there are different kinds of sellers. You have individual sellers, you have family sellers, you have company sellers, you have real estate or property developing sellers, and you have government sellers. There are different kinds of sellers, and the seller determines your questions. For example, if you are buying from individual, you want to know who was their seller, who sold to them. You want to know the kind of title their seller had and the kind of title they had that they are transferring to you. You want to know if they've done anything to compromise that title. You want to know if they sold to other people before. You want to know if they've taken a loan with that property. There are questions you ask when you are buying from an individual, and there are some documents that you will not get when you are buying from an individual. For example, an individual who just wants to sell his own land may not have that kind of receipt setting that a family will have. A family is a property selling entity. They will have the receipt in their family name. A seller might not have that, but the seller will have other documents. If you are buying from family, you want to know what's the story of the family. What are they like? Is it Bale? Is it the local settlement head? Or is it family? Are you relating with family and then going back to go and ratify with the settlement head later? Or are you buying from the local settlement head who will settle the family? Is the family land you are buying, is the Bale a part of that family, or he's just going to get a commission because it's Bale? You want to find out how much land they still have in the area. There are questions you need to ask if you are buying from a family that are different from if you are buying from the others. If you are buying from a property developer or a real estate company, you want to find out what's their title. Is it a JV that they entered with the family? If it's a JV, what kind of document do they have? Who is transferring title to you, the buyer? If the property is theirs, then what are you getting? It's a whole estate. Are you buying the whole estate? Most likely not. So what are you going to get from them? You want to find out, is this their first project? Do they have other projects? Do they have testimonials of things they have done before that have been credible and that you can use as a yardstick for measuring what they are doing? If you are buying from a company, you want to ask one thing: does the memo and articles of the company permit the company to sell land? If they are not a land selling company, they can divest their assets. You want to find out, hope that company is not in liquidation. If they are in liquidation, then there are creditors who are primary beneficiaries. If you buy from that type of company, you have bought nothing. So you want to conduct investigation into the status of the company as at the time of the purchase, as at the time that they want to sell to you. You want to know the kind of documents you are going to get from the company. What are they going to give you? You want to conduct a search in CAC on the company. If you are buying from government, you want to know based on what we are seeing these days, because sometimes I'm giving you experience not just from transactions I've handled, but transactions I've seen. Even though this government one, I have seen it personally. Government is issuing CFO. You want to find out the history of that area. Is it a new area that was acquired and that they are selling to you? If it's a new area, you want to find out the history before government acquired, because a lot of times the previous owners, they are patiently waiting that you are the ones buying. They are waiting for you to come. They are waiting. That does not mean you will not buy. You will just know what is up in front of you. Like I said, it's very in very few cases that I would totally say, okay, my client should not buy. But I just give you a true picture of what is in front of you, and we are prepared. We have a strategy on how to confront the issue. So you can see that who is selling to you will determine what you are going to do, will determine the questions that we are going to ask. The next thing is what you want to buy will also determine the kind of investigation we are going to do. Is it residential? Is it commercial? Is it industrial? Is it agricultural? Because the things that are allowed in residential areas are not allowed in commercial areas. The things that are allowed in industrial areas are not allowed in residential areas. If you want to buy land for agricultural purposes and they tell you the place is free and you don't conduct a search to know if it is free or not, it could be along the path. Maybe you see vegetation around and you want to invest with them. You see vegetation that is thriving around. You might not think to conduct a search since you can see vegetation and your own is just to invest some money with them. What you don't know is that that agric might be on acquisition land, and it may be acquisition land because it is in the path of the dam when they open the dam, and they may not open a dam every year. The year they open that dam, everything you have invested goes underwater. Everything once they open the dam. But if they don't open the dam, you don't have that issue. So what that location is for and what you want to use it for also determines the questions you are going to ask. If you are buying for industrial purposes, is it an industrial area? If it is not an industrial area, there are some things you will not be able to do. If it is not an industrial area and authorities find out that you are performing industrial functions there, they are likely to come and seal up your premises or likely to slam you with tax that you were never prepared for. Those are some of the questions you ask when you want to conduct due diligence. So sometimes we ask you a few questions to enlighten us before we go and conduct due diligence on the property, on the vacant land you want to buy. Also, like I said in the other video, if you are buying vacant land, the questions are different from if you are buying developed property. There are a lot more things you need to do when you are buying developed land as against when you are buying vacant property. As a person, I usually prefer to carry my clients along when I'm doing some of these things, so that you will see, so that you will learn, because some people don't know the value of the work that goes into it. I, as a person, I don't mind if you can do it yourself. I just come and do the documentation, but it will not be in your best interest if these questions are not answered. It will all come across as a waste of your resources, which should not be. And tell me in the comment section, if you had your way, would you do your due diligence yourself, or would you just rather pay for it because it's too complex? But if you can do it yourself, also let me know in the comment section, and please tell me why, so you educate me a bit more. But here I am teaching you and making you understand the nitty-gritty of it if you want to do it by yourself. At the end of the day, what you will need to do is to get a professional, get a consultant to interpret all the information you get for you, to put everything together and to interpret it for you, so you take an informed decision in buying. Investment requires informed decisions. Investment requires informed decisions. As juicy as real estate is, you should take informed decisions before you buy. Real estate due diligence time frame is unpredictable, because when you want to buy from government and government is the one selling, you can imagine how much work you have to do to trace title to the back of government to find out the people who owned it before it came to government. You can imagine the amount of work you have to do. Let me tell you a brief story. I did one investigation for a client and they wanted to buy, and the family had told us that the land had been acquired but they had secured a release. In our investigation, we found out that they had actually secured a release from the previous administration, but the current administration had reacquired it, and this is not even in Lagos. The current administration had reacquired that location, and then the family took that administration to court and won. But the person I was discussing with now mentioned to me that even though they took the government to court and won, there is a notice of appeal in the state high court, and they don't know if the state government followed up on that notice of appeal. A notice of appeal is what you file when you lose a case. You file it in the lower court, you enter it in the court of appeal, so that the party that won will know that you are going to appeal that decision. So a notice of appeal was filed, but they don't know if there was a follow-up at the court of appeal. So I explained to the client, and he said okay, but validly as of today it is still in the custody of the family, and he wanted to buy, but at least he knew I know it also opens up connections for you, people that will be relevant in keeping you informed with information. So we're able to connect him with a few people that he could stay informed with to know what was going on in the transactions. Like I said in the last video, even sellers need to investigate the people they are selling to in certain circumstances. Don't take it for granted that since your own is just to collect money. Please be careful of the people you are collecting money from. It could also be very detrimental to your interest. I wrote a book, 15 things nobody taught me about buying property in Nigeria. One of the things I discussed in the book is what I experienced in a situation where we were the seller. Do well, you could buy a copy of the book. It's just 2,150 naira. The link to buy the book will be in the comments section. These are some of the things you will be considering when you are doing due diligence. There is no standard form for due diligence in Nigeria, because what you are investigating, like I've explained to you, what you want to use it for, what it was used for, will determine what you are going to ask as questions, will determine how far you will go. However, you should get a report at the end of the due diligence exercise. It helps you take an informed decision. If you'd like to ask further questions, you could ask in the comment section, or you could join my Telegram group where I will be breaking some of these things further down. But in order not to bore you, let's stop it here. The link to join the Telegram group will also be in the comment section. If you got value from this video, kindly subscribe, like, and share with your friends and your loved ones. See you in the next video. Bye bye.